Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everyone tonight? I'm running a little late, but hey, I got up here. But I guess you all know I got to let 30 seconds go by before I say any wordy dirt. So I'll say all HE double hockey sticks to pay. And that was from Mr. T. We're going to read what he's got to say about some of this stuff that's going on. And this exhibition we're seeing with the legacy media, which they have to show their contradictions. They have to show their hypocrisy. They have to show that they were suffering from brain rot, as Scott Jennings said. Brain rot. I meant to put that in my title. Brain rot. What was it? Oxford University made that their word of the year prior to Jennings using it. What's he on CNN? One of the co-hosts said, "Well, you don't got to be nasty like that. Make fun of me that I'm suffering from brain rot." And his answer was basically, "Well, you don't got to suffer from brain rot. I mean, that's up to you. Uh, why you blaming me for pointing it out?" So anyway, people are starting to dig, and the number of creators that are going to be talking about UCrizzle, since Biden took these pardons back to 2014, everybody's antennas going up. What? For everything, a blanket pardon. And I think I may have mentioned about a week ago, I got my notifications, judges saying, "Oh, Trump shouldn't do a blanket pardon of the J and then 6 people. That would be wrong. Blanket pardon should, I've got it somewhere in my studio." And awful funny, about a week later, here comes this blanket pardon for Hunter, but taking it back to 2014. Well, speculation and research and actual facts are coming out as to why he may have done that. And it's indefensible. And you have people like Jennings on CNN and other reporters on other stations that don't toe the line. I believe they're being made to put them on there. So they're going to be talking about this stuff too. "How you doing, Wayne?" Said, "Give me some thumbs ups." Yeah, Gary's here. Gary, thank you for helping out last night. I appreciate it. And also for going to buy me a coffee. And Mike and Bev is going by buy me a coffee. I appreciate it. Hi, KNS. How you doing? Wanda, Melinda, Colette. Nice to see you all. Everybody's rolling in. Nice to see Lone Wolf. How you doing, Lone Wolf? Good evening. Oh, I'm buffering. Hopefully it'll smooth out once my signal gets stronger. Let me see if I mess with a something here might help. Does that help any? I'm trying to do adjustments without screwing things up. Oh, I almost kicked myself out of this chat. So hopefully it's doing better. Hi, Flannel Cheese. How you doing? Hopefully it wasn't buffering when I was thanking everybody for going to buy me a coffee. Gary, you're one of them. I thank very much, and I hope everybody heard my thanks. Hi, Sandy. Nice to see you. Yeah, well, Hunter, we got some stories on supposedly White House contacts discussing what was the drama before the pardon. What was the drama? And as Mr. T said, intricate web of people. Once you look at that intricate web, he would have to sign, I don't know, like I said last night, 1,000 pardons, more than that. Hi, Marie, nice to see you. So Sherry, nice to see you. Diane, let's see. All right, it's all good now. Good. Glad to hear that. So let me pull up some stuff. Branko put that cartoon I put on my thumbnail about the Biden family, and what doesn't show up on the thumbnail is Hunter's got a little Ukraine flag pin, and I heard you can't use that country's name very much because there's a lot of stuff getting tied back to that. Did you know that Barack Hussein Obama, like El Rushbo used to say, paid a visit to you, Crizzle? Did you all hear about that? Guess when he went to you, Crizzle? Hi, Ronald. How you doing? Elva, nice to see you. Gloria, guess when he went to you, Crizzle? And guess what? Well, you got to be careful when you put stuff in the chats now. Hi, Tammy. He went to you, Crizzle. When do you think the first year was documented of him going to you, Crizzle? As we go through this broadcast, see what kind of guesses we get. No goggling. Donald J. Trump says, former NATO chief says Israel Hezbollah ceasefire as a direct result of incoming Trump administration. You know, the Biden gang was trying to say, oh, we negotiated this ceasefire. No, they know Trump's coming. They better get all their you know what in one bucket, because Mr. T isn't going to be fooling around. Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you. Wanda says 2012. Melinda says 2013. And what's the second thing Mr. T put out? He said, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J dash and then 6 hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. So, yeah, that does open the door up for Mr. T to take care of those folks, that's for sure. Whoa, my screen went blank. Where is everybody? There they are. There they are. When I get to the post, I will tell you the year he went. Colette said 2014. Gary said, you Crizzle is getting hot. So much disclosure incoming. I'll put that on the screen briefly since the country is misspelled. But that's true. I will read. Now, there's one creator that has been focusing on Eucharist for years and brings receipts, and I will be discussing some of the stuff he discloses. And hopefully his page will start getting a lot of views. Kathy said 2011. Well, if they're smart, they'll start letting them out now, the J and then 6. Citizens Free Press put up Frederick County, Maryland Sheriff. His name is Chuck Jenkins. He's talking about this mayor of Frederick County that came out and said all the heroics he was going to pull to protect our new neighbors. Well, the sheriff came out and said, I don't care what the mayor says. I'm helping ICE deport illegals. I got to watch a transcript to see how that comes out. Now, Trump, I'm just going over what his reactions to what's going on in the world. I mean, he is, as we say, the man, right? He's the man right now. He's the man of the hour, the man of the year, the man of the century. So Lone Wolf said 2010. Kathy said 2011. Let's see. This will bring down the whole group. Diane says 2014. Well, anyway, here's what Mr. T said about the hostages. Everybody is talking about the hostages that are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East. But it's all talk, no action. Please let this truth serve to represent that if the hostages are not released prior to January 20th, 2025, the date that I proudly assume the office of the President of the United States, there will be all hell to pay in the Middle East. And for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity, those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now. And that is the second stern warning. Another time he said that during a rally. He said those hostages better be out. China released a couple hostages, 3 hostages. Let's see. Colette says, where are we on the Brunson brothers case? We shall see, I'm sure. It hadn't shriveled up and gone away. Gary says it will. It's already been settled. It'll be coming in a way nobody saw coming. Well, Ronald, there's no about his pardon. There's nobody saying that he's got to be specific. He's saying all offenses against the United States of America, namely all felonies. Hi, Jetlag, how you doing? They call it what do they call it? A dark docket or a dark file with the SCOTUS. I'm not saying that's what it is or it's official, but that is the moniker a lot of creators have given it. That and a couple other cases. Okay, so it never got adjudicated, that publicly known to be adjudicated. So we shall see. And let's see now. Mr. T said, I am pleased to announce Warren A. Stevens, a successful businessman, nominated to serve as U.S. Ambassador to the Court of St. James, a role in which he will act as our representative to the United Kingdom. So he goes on to give his bona fides, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because I played the on the House of the floor of the House of Commons, where Keir Starmer was called out about his ambassador making nasty comments about Mr. T, and Starmer authorizing foreign agents to come over here and campaign for Mr. T's opponent. So yeah, something going to hit the fan about that. And one thing I put in the title is Notre Dame, and I have mentioned it several times in my broadcasts about the fire at Notre Dame, which was 5 years ago, and how Mr. T was putting out truths and demanding that they get some fire suppression in there and save the building. And of course, what we hear on the internet, that Michelle Obama was sitting on a boat watching it burn with a glass of wine. The historic cathedral Notre Dame. Well, Mr. T said, it is an honor to announce that I will be traveling to Paris, France on Saturday to attend the reopening of the magnificent and historic Notre Dame Cathedral, which has been fully restored after a devastating fire 5 years ago. President Emmanuel Macron has done a wonderful job ensuring that Notre Dame has been restored to its full level of glory, and even more so. It will be a very special day for all. So that is very symbolic. Trump's return to Washington, the reconstruction of Notre Dame, and it's to me it's symbolic of the pushback that we're given against what I consider to be and many others consider to be a satanic cult. Okay, I mean, who can argue the stuff they've been pulling? So let me just see. Melinda, yeah, that Weiss said he wasn't going to allow the pardon to get by. Yeah, he's not going to. It's that is a argument of kind of like semantics. They want the judge to just trash bail the cases, and Weiss is saying no. You have to leave the cases on the record and show that there was an indictment, there was a trial, and now he's pardoned. You can't just say, oh, take the whole file and throw it in the trash. That's not how pardons work. He is the record has to be preserved. You can't just dismiss with prejudice without reference to the pardon. They have to have a copy of the pardon. It has to be tied to the file, and then terminate proceedings, not dismiss. So yeah, it's important. So how many times have you seen a clip of Jean Pierre, or whatever her name is, saying, no, the president will not pardon Hunter? I've said, I don't know how many times you want me to say no. The answer is no. He said no. So that's being played all around the place, and they're looking like idiots, and they're having to defend themselves, and they don't know what else is coming down the pike. But I can tell you, there's people like P and then Didio that is ringing Joe Biden's contact phones off the hook. I got to get a clip of this Scott Jennings when he was telling them, you got brain rot. They have to sit there and eat it, how they've disrespected Scott Jennings when he puts our point of view and when he tells something that's truthful, how they try to set him in his place. Don't talk to us like that. And, smarmy. One of them was up there talking about the people doing the Trump dance, saying that it would look ugly, and they can't let people have a good time. They've got to be a bunch of sad sacks. And anyway, I want to get a copy of this video of Scott Jennings, telling them they got brain rot. All that crap. You see footage of nobody is above the law. All these people being shamed, lined up, played over and over. What's his name? Mr. Sweaty Man. Andrew Weissman's a good example. He gets up there and said, this shows you the difference between a president that respects the law. He's not even going to pardon his own son because he knows how valuable and sacred the law is. All this kind of crap. And then here he's got to watch Joe pardoning Hunter. And that's going to make him wonder. And I showed you all last night the video of the guy almost having a giddy little smile on his face saying, oh, wait a minute, this means Joe could pardon Jack Smith. Well, I grabbed that screenshot of him talking about that live last night, and now that they've had time to cogitate on it, they're thinking about pardons for. I mean, what are they going to do? There is an odor of mendacity in the judicial system all through Southern District of New York, in the Florida courts with Middleton and his little magistrate flunky that signed the search warrant on Mar-a-Lago. You've got Engoron, you've got Mercan, and you've got Kaplan, which was involved with the Sam Stankman fraud case. God knows how much money or bribes and extortion or who knows what is going on with it. Judgeship, and all that stuff is going to be getting looked at. Kash Patel said that the courts were going to have to be pretty much straightened out for all their lawfare. I mean, we can't have a mockery of a system like this, where they go after a former president and leading candidate. So let me see if I get to that article on when Obama went to UCRISL. Karine Jean-Pierre. Somebody was recording a telephone call. She was on Air Force One. I don't know where Joe's got to go on Air Force One, but apparently she was flying around today. I guess with Joe, and a reporter had her on the phone. She said that the J dash and then 6 defendants should not be pardoned. What she said in the phone call is audio only. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and John Kirby gaggle aboard Air Force One. I guess it was a press conference on the plane they recorded. And she also said Biden wasn't lying when he promised not to pardon Hunter. Well, I tell you, part of what I was going to do if I wasn't in a hurry to get up for a thumbnail saying from Sidney Powell, fraud vitiates everything. So if we can speculate what theoretically could stop Biden from throwing out mass pardons. First of all, the optics for the Democrat Party would be horrific, okay? And it would show that they're all a bunch of criminals that are getting ready to have a comeuppance, okay? But what could really stop him? What could stop him from pardoning Jack Smith, Andrew Weissman, Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama, all those judges? What could stop him? Anybody got any ideas? Because the pardon power is, as Trump has said in the past, absolute. And we have the recent Supreme Court decision that in the performance of his duties, the president has immunity. It's assumed, it's there, you know. Kash Patel's on X. Hi, Theodosius. Because this guy, I guess he was on CNN's named Grant Stinchfield. I've never heard of him before. More pardons are coming for Biden family members. You know, that the public isn't going to go too ape over somebody, you know, pardoning their family member. And they throw this stuff out about Jared Kushner's father-in-law getting a pardon. Now he's got an ambassadorship of some sort. But anyway, he what he did was, I guess now it's going on 20 years old. He went through a trial. He was convicted. He had to serve a couple of years in the joint, and he paid restitution or fines. Nothing like what Hunter Biden went through, which was nothing. He just had to sit through trial. This guy did his time. So it's not a comparison. It was pardoned 15 years after the fact. So this CNN is putting out these panels, and they've got people on there that are actually on the panel and not getting mocked or interrupted or run off the panel, saying things like Biden has been lying to us for a long time, and that the pardons were deflating to the Democrat Party. There's no excuse for it. So what if they find out that, what if they have proof that Biden should have been removed because of his mental defects, or that they are knowingly keeping him in there when he doesn't meet the qualifications? Yeah, Tammy said hit that like button. Yeah, pardons that have no weight. What if there is something that pops up, like the Brunson case, like I looked through, you know me, I went to the 17 posts, and I got to be careful when I go over them. But one, I don't know if I can read or not. But if there's irrefutable evidence that the whole shebang is fraudulent, you know what I'm talking about, right? Then the pardon means nothing. But what if there is some communications where they say, run it by me, I'm in charge, not the big guy. He's or this group of 3 people will decide, something that shows that he is not he doesn't have a good hold of the steering wheel, I'll put it that way. Yeah, Colette, all that screwy stuff we were talking about when he took office. Harris Faulkner was on Fox News and said, where do you go if you just pardoned your convict kid and your last name is Biden? The reason I'm bringing that up, they won't be able to walk down the streets, okay? There's going to be so much. Just getting a pardon from Biden is going to say, you're a crook. They could say, oh, we're just protecting him from Trump because he's vindictive. Why? What did you do wrong? So anyway, they won't be able to walk down the street. CNN makes Dan Goldman, this was funny. Dan Goldman sat through a video of the time he professed Joe Biden would never pardon his son. They made him sit through the whole video of himself on CNN. he's being all high and mighty, pontificating how wonderful Joe is. He's got to sit there and watch himself make an idiot out of himself, and then he's got to comment on it. Humiliation ritual. That's the way I look at it. Let's see. Meanwhile, I'll get back to this pardon thing, what's going on in D.C. But remember I was talking about Aleppo and where they tried to say that the Kurds were being bombed, and they used footage from a training footage from a U.S. base in Kentucky to claim it was actual bombing in near the Kurds in Syria to try to provoke Trump into doing something just before he left office. And I was talking last night how there's Wahhabis and Shia-backed Muslims attacking Aleppo now, as we speak. Shows videos of them taking machetes and chopping down Christmas trees, and the Russians have run airstrikes against them, and the Syrian army is finally pushing back on them. But while that's going on, that's just awful odd that you haven't heard anything, a peep, out of Syria, Kurds, or Aleppo in 4 years. And the last time you heard something about it, Trump was embattled and getting ready to leave the White House. Silence for 4 years. Now Trump's getting ready to get back in the White House. They stir up again. And turns out there's a pipeline being constructed from Iran through Syria. That there's some interest in there. I'll get some more information on that. But it's all to disrupt the flow of oil. They just reported that another pipeline in Poland got sabotaged, along with the one we all know about, the Nord Stream pipeline. Of course, that's natural gas, but it all drives the prices of energy up. So they're doing what they can to disrupt. And then meanwhile, in Ireland, Citizen Free Press calls them Hamas campers, storm St. Patrick's Cathedral in Ireland. So that's another historic cathedral, St. Patrick's Cathedral in Ireland. And they've got a bunch of newcomers, part of the European Union's experiment, just rioting in a cathedral in Ireland. So I say start looking for cells to start acting up. Okay? People are getting their marching orders to cause trouble in hot spots. All right? Part of the Muslim and then Brotherhood. Okay? Shia, not Sunni. And let me go ahead and get to that thing about Bummer. I haven't seen any more guesses, but let me find it. There's a picture of him. A picture of him in that Last Chance. When did Bummer first go to Ukraine? And guess what he visited? I'm seeing if there's any more guesses. We had guesses anywhere from 2000, was it 2010 to 2014, I believe the guesses were. The range of guesses. Clandestine put out This is not just about the Bidens. Hunter and Joe were just layers of separation from Obama. Senator Obama visited Soviet biological and chemical facilities in Ukraine. Remember, Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union. They were given autonomy after the fall of the Soviet Union. 2005, Senator Obama visited former Soviet biological and chemical facilities in Ukraine. Then, as president in 2014, his C.I.A. State Department took over Ukraine. The rabbit hole is deep. And you see pictures. I guess I'll save this for when I do a picture show of Barack Hussein Obama walking around a warehouse, and also taking a look at little vials in a box, little vials. I wonder what you put in vials. Back in 2005, Jetlag said 2008, which makes you the closest. But everybody made good guesses. I had no idea he was in Ukraine in 2005, while it was still part of the Soviet Union. Who was in the State Department in 2005? 2005 was George Bush. They're all tied together. Uniparty, okay? The cabal. They're in 2 cents worth of dirty ice between any of them. So, Clandestine goes on to say, I got to be careful what I say, and be careful what you put in the chats, please. There's a reason hundreds of billions of our tax dollars were sent to Ukraine. Hundreds of billions. There's a reason the Dems impeached Trump just before asking where the money was going in Ukraine. There's a reason the Dems and mainstream media lost their minds when Clandestine wrote a story about U.S. funded bio labs in Ukraine. Oh my gosh, Ukraine. I broke my own rules. It has obviously nothing to do with Ukraine being a, quote, sovereign nation or, quote, a beacon of democracy. They're covering up unfathomable criminality. That's why they're willing to start WW3 in order to keep the secret. What is the secret? Because they are guilty of crimes against humanity, for which the punishment is, you all know what the punishment is. And don't put it in the chats without misspelling it. And I have a second time I've got a copy of a speech to the United Nations, a report concerning those bio labs and what the Russian military uncovered at their initial incursion into Ukraine. 2 places they went to secure: Chernobyl and other vulnerable nuclear facilities, and BIO labs. That's right, Jetlag. 28 we know of. So that's going to be coming out. I'll play that video. If I'll get in trouble probably, but next time I do a picture show, I will. I'll play that video of the Russian general giving a report. Anyway, Joe pardons Hunter for all crimes beginning January 1st, 2014. Hunter's biolab company, Meta Biota, were granted their contract with the U.S. Department of Defense. Guess when? Starting in February 10th of 2014. A company that Hunter was involved with called META, all right, just what they renamed Facebook to, right? Isn't that weird? Biota were granted a contract with the U.S. Department of Defense in February 10th, 2014. They were searching for BAT, corona viruses. You guys know what I'm saying. Way back in 2014, in UCRISL, remember this now, the project, the name of the project was called Predict. Like when you predict a winner, predict a loser or whatever. Remember that name. That's the name of the project. That's what it was registered with according to Clandestine, with the U.S. Department of Defense. And they were specifically looking at bat viruses. Corona viruses via through another setup, all capital letters, USAID. Okay, remember those. I might as well keep that post. And I've got a screenshot. Oh my goodness. Where'd it go? There it is. Screenshot of a record of direct payments and fundings, usaspending.gov, usaspending.gov, that shows the ties, okay? 5 years before the outbreak. And after Obama came for the second time in 2014. So, Clandestine goes on to say, while Joe pardoned Hunter for any crimes against the United States, does that also include crimes against humanity? That's a good question, isn't it? U.S. federal crimes, does that apply to international crimes against humanity? Russia has repeatedly accused the Bidens, along with Obama, Soros, the Clintons, Romney, Kerry, and others, of being involved in the production of bio weapons in UCRISL. This is not some kooky conspiracy theory. This has been the forefront of discussion at the UN for years. And none of our media has reported it. The Russians have gone multiple times to the UN with proof, okay? Names, places. And it is one of the main reasons Putin moved into UCRISL in order to neutralize these LABs, which were producing gene-specific pathogens, including bat coronaviruses, okay? Beginning in 2014. Gene-specific, you know what that means, right? They were collecting DNA profiles on people in specific areas. And the way they were doing it, as we learned in previous drops, people would send in their DNA samples to companies to find out whether they were related to royalty or what their heritage was or whatever. They were giving up their DNA. And the company was run by, I won't get into too many details, but to somebody that used to be affiliated with the platform I'm on right now, other than what I up to later on, which is called Bumble, okay? Utizzle. And she was married to a guy that was a big shot in Goggle, okay? Goggle, Utizzle, companies collecting DNA. All right, so the situation is far bigger than drug, gun, and tax charges. Hunter is at the epicenter of the most severe crime in human history. And Joe/Obama are desperately trying to cover it up. Russiagate, CVID, Trump's impeachment, the war in Ukraine, everything leads back to deep and then state criminality in Ukrizzle. So we know a lot about it, but the majority of people don't, but they're ready to listen. They're ready to find out. They've been told a bold-faced lie about Hunter Biden. Remember the last time people said, aha, I caught a politician in a lie. And he lost his reelection bid. Very, very famous moment. I think it was a setup. Read my lips. No new taxes. No raising tax. Read my lips. That was George H.W. Bush. And then he raised the taxes and he lost his election to Clinton, who only won with 43% of the vote. And then we were off to the races with this international criminality. George Bush was installed as Reagan's vice president to keep a rein on Reagan's reach and his ability to make change. Reagan was a singular man on his own and with a CIA operative as his second in command. Oh, Gary said, boom, boom, boom. Thank you, Gary, for going buy me a coffee. I can't check it because the notifications kind of jigger with my stream. So, drop my glasses. Dang on it, now I can't see nothing. Let me find my spectacles. There they are. Anyway, thank you, Gary, for going buy me a coffee. I appreciate it. I'm just looking at the chats here. Yeah. Oh, the BO and then labs is a big part of it, but it ain't all of it. They're not exaggerating about the 300,000 plus children that are missing. And you know what I was going to do, and I'm going to do, I don't know when, and I don't know how long. I got to watch what I say. Every broadcast I do, I last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got a notification. My video is blocked worldwide. It took me 2 hours to get it straightened out, and it stopped. Once you have a block, what happens is you put a video up, it gets picked up, and it picks up steam. You get more and more and more views as the more people click on it. So I'm getting up to like 1,000 views. Boom. I got a screenshot of it. Email says blocked worldwide. So they claimed a copyright. So I had to edit that out and put it back up. But then your momentum is gone. Okay? You go to the bottom of the pile. Now, worse than that is if I say something that gets me kicked off, and anywhere from a week, or they might just say you're totally gone. So I have to, watch what I say. That's why I talk in riddles, and I ask for everybody to be careful in the chats. So, another video I was going to do along with the daily updates is what's called a throwaway child. They call him a throwaway child. Can you imagine being in that category? You have some that are not throwaways and some that are. But they don't just throw them away. They use them, then they throw them away. Some they use and keep. And like C, right? Handler. Anyway, in 2014, C.I.A. and the State Department destabilized UCRISL, took them over via a color revolution. Now we know there's a color revolution going on in this country. We know it's purple, right? Was it Michael Sussman went to court and had a purple tie on? Anyway, and it was the first loss of Durham ever had. Who I say Durham's still active, and we're going to be hearing something from him. Horowitz and Huber, inspector generals. They know that's in the background. All right, so they took over via a color revolution, installed a puppet regime, and turned UCRISL into an offshore playground for criminal racketeering and money laundering. And they spent the last 10 years covering it up by any means necessary. This is the reason the last 10 years have been so crazy. This is why they accused Trump of being a Russian asset and tried to prevent him from talking to Putin. That is why they impeached Trump over a phone call to Ukraine. This is why they are so desperate to arm and fund the regime in Ukraine. And starts to make sense when you look at it that way. This is why they're willing to start a nuclear war over UCRISL. All the insanity that the swamp has unleashed in the last 10 years, and it has been insanity, is because they're terrified that their crimes will be exposed, and their most heinous crimes were carried out in the lawless, war-ravaged land of UCRISL, with protection from their puppet government and outside the scope of U.S. oversight. Everything leads back. Everything leads back to UCRISL 2014. Really, 2005. What the hell's a junior senator named with a funny name, Barack Hussein Obama, doing in UCRISL looking at factories and vials in 2005? Huh? Dan Scavino put up a little hourglass emoji, emoji. 50 days. Of course, now we're down to 49 days. The hourglass, sands through the hourglass. Hi, Joker. How you doing? Haha. 49 days. Tomorrow will be 48, and on it goes. Clock is ticking. Rudy Giuliani put out a full-throated endorsement of Kash Patel for the FBI, said he would restore honor, integrity, dignity. I didn't get to read that yesterday, but he put one out today that said, Biden, who will not even meet with his granddaughter, Navy, didn't pardon his son because he's a good father. He did so because his son admits on the hard drive for 30 years, Hunter has given half the millions he's collected to the boss of the crime family, Joe Biden. That's from Rudy Giuliani, who helped author and institute RICO. Do I think military is the only way, but at what level is it going to be implemented? It's being implemented, it's been being implemented, military activity, military operations, but they have been heavily skewed to the weapon known as psychological warfare. Fifth generation. And we're all a part of it. Okay? We flipped Operation Mockingbird. We're using Operation Mockingbird ourselves. But the message we're getting out is true, not falsehoods. We're using the method of operations for Mockingbird for the truth. It's called political jujitsu. Jack Posobiec said Joe Biden pressured Joe to issue Hunter a pardon over Thanksgiving weekend. This is from CNN. Zellini is a reporter, I guess, that said clearly there was pressure inside the family. We were told, really, in recent weeks, that Dr. Joe Biden, First Lady Joe Biden, was really supportive of the president doing something like this. Okay, so they want to put it on Jill. But the fact of the matter is, Joe probably doesn't have the cognitive ability to really understand. A question I'll get to where Jack Posobiec said, did anybody see Joe Biden sign the pardon? How do we know he signed it? I had a friend, and I don't like bringing stuff up, but it's so long ago. He's gone on to his great reward. He had a form of dementia while he was fairly young. He was late 50s, and he passed away in his early 60s, mid 60s. You could talk to him, and you knew something was a little bit off. But he could still drive. He could still go to the grocery store, but you knew something was wrong. Then you asked him to write his name. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't draw a clock with the hands saying 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or whatever. But he could talk to you, and if you didn't know him for years, you would think he was in possession of his faculties. So it's a good question. Did Joe sign that pardon? Is he able to sign anything? Did you see that interview with Andrew McCabe? That's another one that's sweating. He's another one that's going to need a pardon. Is Joe going to give it to him? Are they going to have to use an auto pen? You remember which was the governor of Virginia? Was it Terry McAuliffe, maybe? Was doing auto pen. He wanted to do auto pen signatures, restoring the rights of felons so they could vote. And I believe that was in 2020. And I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if the court said, no, you can't use an auto pen. It has to be actually signed by the governor. But that's how bad they wanted to win Virginia. And I was going to, well, use the term piss and moan about blanket pardons, Trump doing a blanket pardon on J6. Now they got this blowing up in their face where Hunter gets a blanket pardon. Well, how about when the governor of Virginia was doing blanket restoration of rights for felons so they could vote in Virginia and wanted to use an auto pen? So, yeah, I remember stuff like that. But anyway, Andrew McCabe, he was on CNN saying, talking about Kash Patel. He's really upset. This is Madam President on Truth put this out. Former Deputy FBI Director under Comey is really upset about Trump nominating Kash Patel. Quote, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. What a joke. He's got more qualifications than you, Andrew McCabe. He's got way more qualifications than you. So don't forget that hierarchy. James Comey, then you had McCabe, then you had Strzok, and then you had Page. Okay? But he's all nervous. He's going to be calling for a pardon. You better believe it. You better believe it. Let me see what's going on in the chat. I think California is still counting. I guess so. Well, I got a post from the 17th letter that talks about under lock and key. They have what's the blank BALLO and then TSs, right? And their system for how they distribute those blanks. And that makes me think of Trump talking about paper being like a fingerprint and watermarks. Is that going to come into play? Jack Posobiec, he also, not only about signing the pardon, we don't have any proof that Biden signed it, but he also points out that Hunter's been pardoned for the cocaine in the White House, too, along with everything else. Sweeping all that under the rug. And he says, for every action, there's an equal and positive reaction. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Well, what Posobiec claims, he's got a White House insider, right? And that's one of the reasons he's asking the question. Has anybody seen him sign the pardon? Has anyone seen a video of him explaining any of this? But over Thanksgiving, according to Posobiec, Hunter told his father about a book he was writing that would go public with everything. Days later, his father signed a blanket pardon per White House official that he's friends with. Hunter told his dad he was going to do a tell-all book. Then he got the pardon. So was somebody encouraging the big guy to leave the possibility of charges hanging over Hunter's head to control Hunter, and Hunter did a double backflip out the side door and said, I'm going to write a tell-all book if I don't get a pardon. So are they both threatening and extorting each other? They do eat their own, don't they? Yeah. What did I say wrong? I had some people drop off. I must have said something wrong. Yeah, television shows. That's what I've heard. Hunter, they say Hunter can't plead the fifth, but the bottom line is he could expose himself to state charges. He could expose himself to international criminal liability. He could expose himself to civil liability. So no, I don't think he can be compelled to give up his Fifth Amendment because he has other liabilities to incriminate that he may incriminate himself. He can't be compelled to give up that constitutional protection because this is only for federal charges, nothing else. The Fifth Amendment is to protect you from self-incrimination. It doesn't specify only self-incrimination for federal charges, self-incrimination for any crime. So it is a right. So no, they talk that, but he can't be compelled to give up a constitutional right. A pardon is a pardon is a pardon. Megyn Kelly says Biden not only pardoned Hunter, he pardoned himself. Well, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. Television shows, watch who you're listening to. Whoever told you that doesn't know what they're talking about. There are some constitutional guarantees and rights that you can't even give up if you want to. Okay? That's how powerful your rights are. The right against self-incrimination. The blanket pardon is only for, I'm going to say it one more time, it's only for federal charges. The right to remain silent, to keep from incriminating yourself, extends to all kinds of crimes and liability where you can be punished. You can be punished through civil fines, like OJ. OJ won his case on a criminal level, but he lost it at a civil level for millions of dollars. He could not be compelled to testify in the civil case. The state he was in when he had a person underage come visit him, if you know what I'm saying, at a hotel in a certain state. Virginia, next to DC, or Maryland, he could be charged with state crimes. Where did he have the firearm? Was that in Maryland or DC or Delaware? No, he can't be. He doesn't have to bear witness if he feels that it will incriminate him. But I'll tell you what my answer is to that, television shows. The laptop has every dirty crime they've committed. Trump said that himself. I can't remember the exact words Trump used, but he said something to the effect of every damn thing, crooked thing you've done, Joe, is in that laptop from hell. Why does he have to testify? That is his testimony, is that laptop. And that's why he left it on purpose. I think it's part of the agreement. I think Hunter Biden is going to suffer some type of incarceration or restriction of his ability to go around. He may be put on a golf course style penitentiary for the high value prisoners for a number of years. He's not going to walk away from this. Nobody walks away from it. But the information he allowed to get out on that laptop put his life in danger. And that's how the game's played. You give something valuable, you'll get something valuable back. But you won't get off scot-free. But he doesn't have. Why does he have to testify? He's given them everything they need in that laptop. In the BlackBerries that he gave to Tony Bobulinski, all the paperwork, all the disclosures he made to Tony Bobulinski, he showed the method of operations. He introduced Tony Bobulinski, who, by the way, is military, and disclosed twice during an interview with Tucker Carlson that Tony Bobulinski said it twice, that he still has Q level clearance. He said that twice. And that was the initial contact just before the first debate with Biden, Trump and Biden. Tony Bobulinski gave a press conference and had on the BlackBerries interviewed James Biden, who said a key set of words for their modus operandi. How do you get away with this? Tony Bobulinski asked James Biden. And James Biden said, plausible deniability. Namely, any peg to hang your hat on that the public will buy to get you off. Well, if they didn't give Hunter some kind of a hope, some kind of a deal, they wouldn't have everything. Trump calls it the laptop from hell. But it ain't hell for us, it's hell for them. And everybody that's in that laptop. And don't forget, Rudy Giuliani traced the cash back from that deal where Biden said, son of a bitch, they fired the prosecutor. He got 10%, 900,000. Rudy Giuliani had a file where he traced that money through different countries, different banks. He knows exactly where the money went, laundered back directly into a Biden account. Next thing you know, Rudy Giuliani's getting attacked. Remember all that stuff, folks? It's going to come back up. But it's so much. And to keep your ear to the ground, it's, people got to live their, like, they got lives to live. And these people have nothing to do but be nefarious, nothing more to do than think of ways to line their pockets. They get induced, bribed, extorted to create a political atmosphere, a political environment, a sociological environment. Whether they know it or not, their final purpose is to reduce the population, to subjugate humanity, to restrict access to resources, to meet those ends that I just said, to please a cabal of very evil people. They get greedy puppets like the Bidens and the many others, the Clintons, the Obamas. They have their ideology. They play upon their ideology just like they did with Adolf to do their bidding to subjugate mankind. It is exactly, but on a worldwide scale. You know, this is my philosophy about it. I'm going into my personal philosophy. Remember when Satan challenged God? I bet you I can get this guy named Job to curse you, to reject you. That's what they want humanity to do. That's why they're trying to get people to do what they're doing to their very young people. Get them to turn their back on the word, okay? Smear and sully the sanctity of marriage, defile innocents and little ones. Satan tried it with Job, and God said, go for it. Gave him permission. He couldn't do a thing to Job on his own. Satan could not inflict Job with the woes and miseries without God giving him permission. That's something to remember. It got to the point, if you all will remember, where Job's wife even told him he was suffering from so much. His wife said, just curse God and die and get it over with, because she couldn't stand to see him suffer anymore. And he still wouldn't do it. Well, that's what these minions that compose the cabal are doing. They are instruments of the evil one to inflict all this misery on humanity, to try to get them to turn their backs on God and turn the world into what they feel it should be rather than God's desire. So only the fool hath said there is no God. So Jake Sullivan came out and didn't care for Matt Gaetz, doesn't care for Kash Patel, but he came out today and made a statement about UCRISL. The U.S. will do, quote, everything, unquote, in the remaining 50 days of Biden's administration to send as many weapons to UCRISL as possible and strengthen it ahead of any negotiations. He's come right out and said it. They're going to send as much as they can. This was stated by President's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. Quote, we're going to do everything we can in these 50 days to give Ukraine every tool we can to strengthen its position on the battlefield so that it's stronger at the negotiating table. And President Biden has tasked me with overseeing the massive shipments of military equipment that we're sending to UCRISL, that we spent every dollar that Congress has allocated to you, Crizzle. They're going to spend every dirty dollar by the time President Biden leaves office. Unequivocal statement that they're dumping as much as they possibly can into you, Grizzle. And they've done the attackums, and there was an attack yesterday on Russian territory with Storm Shadow missiles and unmanned aerial drones. Most of them were shot down, but we know what Putin said about NATO-controlled missiles coming onto his territory. I'm going to tell y'all something funny. I was looking, I put the word fraud in 17th letter, right? I forget how many posts I got. I got about like 40 posts. One of them you all might want to look at just for recreational research. I picked one and I said, oh, let me read this. I see what's going on here. And it is concerning somebody named Mark Mezvinsky. Mark Mezvinsky. And they said, take a look at that name, and you'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. And I said, okay, let me take a look at it. Well, this guy is an American investor and partner at a place called TPG. He served previously as a vice chairman of Social Capital. He's the husband of Chelsea Clinton. Chelsea Clinton, daughter of former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Okay. They said to take a look at his father and his mother. I said, okay. Edward Maurice Mavinsky, an American politician and lawyer from Iowa. He's a former U.S. representative and felon, a Democrat. He represented Iowa's 1st Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives for 2 terms. A felon. His wife also served in Congress. What was her name? Anyway, he was elected to the Iowa legislature. He lost his race for Congress and then won and reelected twice. He made several unsuccessful U.S. Senate attempts in the 80s. In 2001, he was convicted of 31 felony charges of fraud and served 5 years in federal prison. He was convicted of bank fraud, mail fraud, and wire fraud. He's been released and his probation is expired. I didn't get a screenshot of the wife's name, but you would remember it. Oh, my. I forget his wife's name. Anyway. Oh, boy. I'm looking here. But anyway. The point of it is the intricate web. That's what Trump called it. He said it's not tangled. It's intricate. Anyway, it's fraught with criminality, and some of these posts I've got I can't go over tonight. But if you look up fraud, the first one that I hit upon was, which really started the ball rolling before Trump came to office, was the tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch that you all know about. And it describes how Admiral Rogers made sure that that conversation was recorded. And that's going to be popping up. But if you want to do some recreational exploration, just put the word fraud in. You'll see all kinds of links. Here's an interesting post that got the word fraud in it. How is the game played? Example, a Politico article, Hunter Biden business partner fraud. Unanimous convicted by a jury. Overturn a conviction by Judge Ronnie Abrams of the Southern District of New York. Attempt to free, provide shade for Hunter Biden, ? Federal court reinstates conviction. What is the background of Judge Ronnie Abrams? And then you have a link to an article. Remember, I was Black Robe Rebellion, Black Robe Rebels. The article is courthousenews.com. It's got a link to it. Judge Mueller team member steps away from Trump suits. Married to Greg Andreas. Who is Greg Andreas? And there's articles from Reuters. Trump Russia lawyer exclusive. Drain the swamp. So it talks about this judge, Ronnie Abrams, of the Southern District of New York. And Greg Andreas, yeah, just a little something to look at to refresh your memory. Let's see, my chat's froze. There they go. Now they're moving. Okay. Hi, Joy. Yeah, they are sick. They are sick. Then I found a post from Technofog. You know, the other thing I heard was that the FBI, there were dozens of agents putting their resignations in. Ever since Cash Patel got announced, a lot of them are jumping ship. But this is an old post from Technofog. Says the Adam Goldman New York Times report on Durham reviewing Clinton Foundation investigation. 1. Agents, FBI managers seek subpoena of Clinton Foundation. 2. Top DOJ criminal division officials deny their request. Did Andrew Weissman deny the subpoena? In 2016, he was leading the fraud section. Any ideas? So I always talk about Andrew Weissman. I called him Mr. Sweaty Man, and I said the other day, remember the name Kevin Kleinsmith. Kevin Kleinsmith. I know it's a little off topic, but I'm just saying keep that in your back of your head. You'll say, oh, that's the one Mountain Man was talking about. Kevin Kleinsmith. That's going to be popping up. How you doing, Dub? Yeah, here comes a stack of pardons. That's right. What can be done to stop it? Or do they want to stop it? Or are they going to let the show go on? Are they going to let them expose themselves? And I believe that's what they're doing, folks. But let me see if I got any other articles here. Some of these posts I got to go through in a here's a tweet from Trump from way back. It's a quote. It says, may God have mercy upon my enemies because I won't, unquote. That's from General George S. Patton. Yeah, that's a good one to put up this time around, isn't it? So, folks, well, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me and listening to me Babylon. I do want to get into the throwaway child, and that's what I don't know how much of that stuff is going to come out in the public. When you think about these BIO and then labs, all the information the public is going to be, well, they actually are being exposed to now. Now that X is free and open, this stuff is flying around on X, being seen by millions of people that have never even heard of the things we've been talking about for years. Okay? And we know it's as horrible as it was for them to release that invisible enemy on us and our society and shut down our economies and disrupt our way of life. As horrible as that was, we know that there are other horrors, and I don't know how much of the public will find out about it. We'll talk about as much of it as we can without being deplatformed. Okay, folks? So I probably won't broadcast tomorrow unless something big happens. But if you're not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and do that and hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. You can join me on my next live stream. And if you think about it, if you enjoyed broadcast, make sure you give me a thumbs up. It helps the video get around. So once again, I appreciate everybody who went by buy me a coffee and helped out, supported the channel. I got a link in the description. And I hope you all have a great evening. The lights are getting turned on. Justice is coming. God wins. And I'll be seeing you soon, folks. This is Mountain Man, over and out.